It's Friday the 13th. Why did my voice crack? Ding! We gotta do that again. It's Friday the 13th. And it is my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mama. Happy birthday. And I wish you many, many more to come. My mom is 95 years old today. You hear me? 95 years old today. Born in 1929, right after the Great Depression. So she reaped the aftermath of the Great Depression. She got stories for days how they survived too, and you know, how the women had to be careful a lot of times. And that's why I listen to the older generation. You know, 95 years old, she's got a lot of insight on what is going on and what people are going to go through. Or have been through, not going through, but what people have been through. But welcome, y'all, to Lovely J Podcast. I'm Coco, and got a great topic for us while I'm cooking. I'm doing some chicken stew, y'all. Have not done a chicken stew since back in my biological daddy day. When he used to hang out here with me, that's when we used to have chicken stews and things like that. But I ain't done one since he passed. And now I have the opportunity to do one. So let me tell y'all what I got. I got some chicken boiling over there. I already put my little baby carrots in it because it ain't got much longer. And I got some celery here that I'm finna clean up, get them strains off of it, and put them in the pot. Now, Mama she likes celery. She eats celery just like it is, cooked. She just always liked celery. And I remember her chicken stews used to be, it used to be, had the thickening on it, like the roux, like the flour roux. And stringy chicken. So I decided the best part of chicken to do for that was just to do the whole leg quarters. Like I do at Thanksgiving time. I'll pull out leg quarters. Because they have more flavor when it comes down to doing stews and things. Yeah, let's see here. Where is? Yeah, I know I put it over here. Just got some Amazon mail. Think it's my phone charger. Okay, so I'm just gonna scrape down on these. On the celery to get those stringy parts off, because y'all know when you're chewing, and then if you ain't got no teeth, you get to pulling on these things, and you just about get choked with that string on there. Well, that's because you're supposed to get it off, or you can leave it on. It's up to you. You got good teeth, keep it on there. Use your teeth. But if you like mine and you got a sham shack mouth, take it off, take it off, take it off. Yeah, so let me tell you what I want to talk about. Y'all know that school shooting that happened, the last one that has been on in the news. The 14-year-old did it. Now, I'm not going to call his name and all that stuff because he is 14 years old. They did say he was a troubled teen. They said he was a troubled teen. But this has prompted many people to start doing these so-called things called the final note. The final note. And I want to know y'all's opinion on it. Do you think that kids should write their parents a final note in the event that there should be a school shooting and their parents can get a final note for them? And that's what my question is. Do you think that students should do that? I'm going to tell you off the gate. Now, y'all know me. I believe in speaking life and all that. I do not believe that they should write a final note. I saw that on Facebook, and this teacher put it up there so boldly and proud. If anything, I believe they should write a promise note to each other to promise to protect each other in the event that if something like that was to happen, they would do everything they can do to protect each other. But far as writing a final note as in their last goodbyes, no, that's got to be more traumatizing on students than anything. And why are we convincing them to die or that they're going to die? Why can't they write letters to the government instead, telling them, hey, we need your protection. We're going to school to learn so we can be productive citizens, but we need your help. We need your protection. That would have been a more appropriate note, not to the parents that they're going to die. Why are they fear-mongering these kids? That's the beginning of something, y'all. I don't know what. But it's the beginning of something that doesn't sound too good. But yeah, I saw that and I didn't like it. I put my opinion down there. Everybody else was agreeing with it. They were like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It's America where we live. Oh yeah, I know it's America where we live. And I know the violence is here and it's bad. I live with it every day. So I know it's bad here. Even though it's bad, we don't got to sit there and buy into it mentally wise. We can train our minds to survive. Train our minds to survive instead of die. That's like saying you're just going to let the child just lay there and die. We got to keep training, and training has to become more intense. The training of how to survive must be more powerful than the thought of I'm going to die. If not, you're going to raise a bunch of kids with anxiety, and it's going to be more mental health issues out here because they didn't convince these kids to write a final note. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't like it. Not one bit. Anyways, it's really sad. And they said that last 14-year-old who did that shooting said that he was going through so much mental problems. His mama was on drugs bad, in and out the household. But his mama was one trying to call and stop it from happening while the daddy sat there and brought the young man a gun. He knew that boy went right in the head. And you know what? The FBI was already watching them. So I'm trying to understand, how did they get past the FBI like that? Unless that young boy was part of their experiment. Don't let the FBI and the CIA fool you now, because they have these experiments too that they let go on like this. Most of those mass shooters were part of the experiments from the CIA and the FBI. Those are two different agencies, but both agencies can be corrupt at times. The FBI had already been to their house because they suspected that, they saw where he was watching things on about school shootings, and they saw where he had been, posting online about it. Uh-oh. I know that pant is not trying to trip over there. They saw where he was doing all that, went out there to his house, visited him, and his father. And his father, of course, is going to say what he thinks is best at the time. Anything keep his child from going to jail and looking bad. So he puts that talk up, oh, I don't know, I'm going to do everything I can on my end. And then goes out and buys a gun for this young man. An AR-15. Assault rifle. Ain't no way I would get my son a gun and I see he having issues. And if he being bullied, then you gotta watch it. That's why I tell you, bullies, y'all better stop. Because see, y'all people out here bullying people, you don't know how much that person can take. And I know you want them to take all of it so that they can, harm themselves. But what ends up happening is the bully ends up harming innocent people. Y'all think the government don't know that? Okay, let me get off the government. Because I don't need them coming after me. If this child was bullied like that, there should have been some type of help available. I don't think the schools do enough when it comes down to bullying and harassment. I know they don't do enough. What do? They might shuffle teachers and principals around, move them to another area to teach it, but other than that, they don't take it seriously. And then they have certain picks at school. We gotta stop the certain picks, take care of certain ones, advance certain ones, and other ones depending on the family background. Let's hold them back as much as we can. Let's stop them from learning. But newsflash, what God has for them, they're gonna learn anyway. Whether you teach it to them or the Holy Spirit teach it to them. If God has a plan for that child's life, you can't stop it. He qualifies the unqualified. And that's what these schools don't realize. That's why you see some of these football players and basketball players who have exceeded and done well, and you hear them talk about they came from a background where they didn't have nothing, a background of poverty and all that. And then you see them thriving out here now that they got older. You see them out here producing. Man. That was God's favor on their life. It had nothing to do with the education. It had everything to do with what God said they could have. That's what it had to do with. Okay, I'm going to move these. I got a lot of celery here because I told you, my mama likes celery. I hope she likes all of this. Celery is some good flavor. No, I better not put all that in there. Oh, I got a plate full too. Let me just pull some of that back. I got potatoes to dice. Go ahead and put these in here. Ooh. Oh, they just having a party over here. Ooh. Oh, let's see. Potatoes. I do. Oh, I hope Jessica don't mind. I gotta use an onion at first. Had to move around and get stuff. I blame these bullies for a lot of things that go on. Now, true enough, a person can decide whether they want to do right or wrong. But there's a point in life when if you keep poking at somebody that mentally, and they don't get help or they don't know God, maybe they know God, just don't have no faith. Or, for whatever reason, there are some people that do lose it. They lose it. And once they lose it, it's hard for them to come back to reality. They get out of reality. But nobody talks about how they were bullied, how they were teased, how they were harassed. Just doing normal stuff, just being themselves, harassed for being themselves. People don't talk about that. But yeah, we got to have more stricter laws on this bullying. And we do got to hold these teachers and guidance counselors accountable for doing their job. Part of their job is to make sure that these kids are okay. Above everything, make sure these kids are okay. What's the need in you teaching them something if they're not okay to receive it? So that is part of the teacher's job, is to make sure they're okay. I'm not saying the teacher is the main person in the village, but what I'm saying is my child, your child, any child that goes to school, they're in your hands for 8 hours or more, or some for less. And if you can't handle that, we got a problem. We got a problem because those kids are in their hands. And I'm not saying for all teachers. I'm saying some teachers let other kids get away with bullying just because they don't like the child. Child ain't got to do nothing to you. But if a person don't like you, if you got enemies, then your child got enemies. I hope your children understand that someday. That when they start hanging with the people who you told them not to hang with, they're going to understand. They're going to learn it one way or the other that your enemies are their enemies. I learned it the hard way. I used to think, when my mama and daddy said they had a problem with somebody, and they'd be like, don't y'all go there? We get together and all of us would go bouncing our fast tails down there where they was at, where the problem makers was, thinking that we were doing something. Come to find out, those people treated us like crap. We thought we was in the midst of having, these good times and partying and things, being with the enemy, not realizing the enemy was setting us up the whole time. So it is things like that we have to be mindful of. We have to be conscious to what's going on with children at home. It does take a village, but the right village. If children had the same thing to say about a teacher or their parents, and nobody pays them any attention, that people just brush them off like, oh, okay, well, you're going to be all right. It's all right. You got to give children more than that these days. Because if you don't give them more than just saying it's going to be all right, if you don't tell them how it's going to be all right and tell them what they can do until it becomes all right, these children are going to explore the internet and find all kind of possible ways to cope with life that is giving them challenges, giving them pure out hell. Then y'all get mad. These guidance counselors need to stop brushing these kids off. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and it hit me that these kids these days are nothing more than checks. Now, every once in a while, you're going to get a teacher who really wants to teach these kids, who really want these kids to get it, who really want these kids to learn, who want these kids to be productive in society. But other times, now I'm going to say that's probably a small percentage of teachers that's like that, who would go out of their way for their students, black, white, Hispanic, it don't matter what color. They just want to make sure that they're teaching them everything they know, the right thing. They're passing on to the next generation. Now, like I said, having said that, there are teachers out here who want to teach you everything they know. including their depressions, their anxieties. They wanted to teach you their hoism. Yeah. They want to teach you how they smoked cigarettes. I remember teachers I had who just couldn't wait to get out the door and smoke that cigarette at recess time. I grew up, I couldn't wait to get out the door and smoke the cigarette at recess. I thought it was cute to smoke cigarettes with my fingernails painted. And because I saw that's how they did it. They had their nails painted. I wanted mine painted too. For when I hold my cigarette. That was elementary. That was 3rd grade. And then again in 6th grade. And what did I grow up doing? Loving that same color. To this day, I love that color of fingernail polish, hot pink, fuchsia, that color, period. Now, I'd love to see more of y'all wear that color because I know you are. But that color, I liked it so much because that's what I saw my teachers do. I was telling one of my classmates, his mama was my 1st grade teacher. Her name was Miss Reynolds. Miss Reynolds had a certain way that she dressed. I loved it. She always looked cool, confident, and just laid back. Now, I don't know why she wore shirts and another shirt over it, but I picked that up from her. And I was in 1st grade. And to this day, you look at my pictures, you don't see me in too many tank tops, but you do see me in a lot of jackets. Because for me, that was a superior look. That meant I was about learning. I was about business. So that was a superior look for me. And, I done cut 2 onions here. I think this is going to be enough. And I enjoyed that look. And I still enjoy that look. Y'all, I got to go move something around in this pot. So I can fit everything in it. This is starting to look good. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. Fall, this time of year, stools and all that. I'm going to get back on topic, but I got to try to pour this into the pot. At least get my taters in here so everything can get done at one time. Ooh, that looks good. Let me add in. Now I've got to wait for that to cool down. I mean, not cool down, but cook down some. I got that pot full. Ooh, that pot is full. Okay. I think I'm going to use 2 of these. Whew. Okay, y'all, back to the Miss Reynolds story. Miss Reynolds was a good teacher, and I loved her. But she stood for teaching. She stood for seriousness, superior. She stood for wisdom. She was one of the teachers that wanted to teach, that wanted her students to get it. She didn't want to just stand up there and just be. If she ever had any problems in her life, she didn't bring it to work. That's what I'm saying. When she got to work, she was focused on her students. And I liked that. I loved that about her. And out of all the teachers I had throughout the years, I took my greatest liking to her. because she just took her time with me. I seen her take her time with my siblings before then, and other people. So I was into her, but I loved the way she dressed. Her dressing just rubbed off on me. She inspired me to be the best I could, and to this day I still do. Now I sit around the house and I look like a bum, or no, I don't look like a bum. I look like me when I'm comfortable within my own home. So, of course, I may not look up to date like some of you may keep yourself, but when I do come out in public, I do look presentable, because that's one thing I learned, is to look presentable. But we had teachers who taught you how to look presentable. If you came to school and your pants were falling down and you needed a belt, these teachers would go and find you a belt to put on. If you needed a hug, these teachers would give you a hug. Whatever they could provide, it wasn't just about being part of the system for them. It was about making sure that they were helping to raise and empower people with their knowledge and values. And it worked, because I grew up learning to love. Learning. I love that to this day. To this day, if you give me a good teacher, or it don't even got to be necessarily a good teacher, but someone who I can look at and I can see, oh yeah, they love their job. They not complaining about their job. They show up every day. It don't matter if the weight of the world on their shoulder, they showing up to work with a smile on their face and that one focus to teach these kids how to live out here in this cold, cruel world. And if people were picking on you back then, there were teachers who would stand up to the bullies and their parents. They would stand up to them. But nowadays, the teachers are looking laugh about what a child do to another child, because now we have more teachers that are familiar with the family. Back in the day, we had teachers that come in from out of town and different places to teach, so they didn't really know family members like that. But now we have teachers who are holding grudges because of something that happened to their family member back in the day, or may have just happened, and now they're trying to make your child pay for something somebody in your family did. That's what we have today that's in the system. And we need to, it need to be some laws set up to protect our children against retaliation like that. We need those laws. We need laws that are going to protect our kids from these bullying teachers, these bullying principals, bullying students, until these laws become stricter and we start seeing change. You're going to be creating monsters. Monsters. Most of the kids right now that do have manners, it's because they got a old school grandparent in their life. I'm not saying the parents not teaching, but I'm speaking on generation now. The generation that come in the 60s and 70s are almost the last of those who have the great grandparents who are old school, like up in the 80s and 90s, 100s. So a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to talk to an old school grandma who will tell them like it is. Versus, the parents these days, they want to be friends with their kids. Even though I was young when I had my kids, I didn't never want to be friends like that. I wanted to be the mother. That's what I signed up for, to be a mother. And being a mother means I'm going to give you more love than a friend. I'm going to show you myself more than friendly. See, friends will leave you in the time of trouble. But when you got a good mama, that good mama going to stand right there with you. Now, she might not uphold your wrong, but she will be standing there. As you go through your trials and tribulations, she's still going to be standing there. She'll be going through her own spats and stuff, but yet she has enough room in her heart for her children. We need those kind of God-fearing mothers and grandmothers back out here. I'm not talking about those of you who are part of the system that you have been told to break certain kids down or not to treat certain kids good. Give them the last. I grew up, and that was one of the words I heard all the time. Give her the last. Give her the last. She gets the last piece. You know how I started loving the end piece of the bread? Because I didn't always get the middle portions of the bread slices. I didn't always get, the prettiest sandwiches. I had a lot of moments where I had the last. But you know what? If you go and you pull out that last piece of bread and you put a piece of cheese on it or bologna, whatever you want to put on it, it tastes just as good as if not better than the other pieces of bread. See, because that darkness is sweetness. People didn't want that last piece of bread because it was ugly. But if you dress that bread up, it tastes way better than the other bread. And to this day, I learned how to enjoy the last. I learned how to work with what I had got. And that's because people designed that like that. They didn't design to put me first. They designed to give me the last. I talk about that church where I used to get the food from. I would go there and get food, and I wasn't last, but the food that I got was as if I was last. And I learned how to just, it's going to be days I'm just going to have to do without, eating what I normally eat. Don't need no way. I'm big enough that, as Dr. Oz said, no, not Oz, but Dr. Now say, you're not missing anything. You got enough fat on you to last you for a while. Just drink water. But yeah, I see these people out here who everybody wants to be in control of something. Nobody wants to last. Nobody wants to, when you get poor students in their classes, nobody wants to be proud of these poor students because in their mind it's a reflection of them. I knew I overloaded that pan. I'm just looking at this water just spew out. Let me go turn this down, y'all. Why are you spewing out? We need you, good juices. Turn this down till it cooks down a little bit. Let me see, what is this on? Okay, y'all, we're going over in here. Going in the living room. It's hot in this kitchen. And one thing about a stew, all you gotta do is put it on, let it do what it do. Get up out of the way. Get that bottle of water. Got my comfy seat. Okay. Let me catch my breath a little bit. Had to breathe a little bit, y'all. Okay. So, where was I at? I was saying that if a teacher gets a student who's poor in their class and they get a rich student too, who you think they're going to give the most attention to? Who do you think they're going to give the most attention to if they get a poor student in and a rich student? They're going to give the most attention to the rich student. You know why? And I've watched this for years. This is why. Because the teacher themselves has low self-esteem. The teacher themselves is in need, so they don't want to associate themselves with another person who's in need too. So they rather go to the person who's more upscale and can afford to take losses than to be with the one who is already lost, at a loss. That's why certain kids are privileged. Poor, low-income kids aren't privileged unless they have something to offer. If you have a gifted, low-income child, oh, they're going after that child. They're gonna bribe you with everything they can. If that child is good in athletics, whatever they are gifted in, they going after that child because they see that gift in that child. They know that child's gift will make room for them, and then that's when they take them under their wing, start training them to be like them, and that's when they grow up. And because they've been so much like them, they never had a chance to be themselves. And then you see them playing good out here, but you see them turn cocky and arrogant. And then you see them have this history of drug abuse now. Because they didn't get a chance to grow into that role. It was through into them. See, you can't fake the anointing. You can't fake the gifting. God knows the gift that he has given to each and every one of us. And if you see that child has a gift, your job is to help that child cultivate that gift, not skip steps in life that's going to help them when they're older. And that's what happens. The gifted sometimes gets to skip the steps. And when those steps are skipped, we see these children go haywire. They become beasts in society. They become, people who are dangerous. Psychopaths. Not all. But some can't handle it. They can't handle being rich. They can't handle being famous because the gift was not cultivated. The steps were skipped. And then you see them on the news. Such and such a person then did such and such a thing. Sad. Gifted but foolish. Gifted but arrogant. Talented but no direction. Talents and gifts, but no wisdom. No understanding of why you really have that gift. And that's what happens to some of the poor people. And then when they find themselves getting about bankrupt, they start talking about it. They talk about it. But young people, we need to help these young people grow into who they are supposed to become. Not who we want them to become, but who they are supposed to become. And we must hear them when they cry, even when they are silent. Do you know most young people aren't going to tell you what's going on in their life? It's not because they don't like you. It's because that's just how young people are. If you don't establish a relationship with young people, they will never tell you what's going on. Because that's how they are. That's who they are as they're growing up. They're learning who they can trust. And they're learning who they cannot trust. And you'll see this in little toddlers. Little toddler babies start teaching us. You pay attention to your child. That toddler will not go to somebody who they do not trust. You could take that same toddler, put it around a family member who has played tricks on that toddler when they was a baby. And that toddler won't go to that family member. But you take that same toddler and put him around a stranger. That toddler will get up in that stranger's arms and smile and laugh. Because they don't know who's holding them. At least they know it's not that family member who played that cruel joke on them. So you see, we gotta take into consideration what we're putting out here for these kids to pick up on. What are we doing to them? And like I said, those teachers who were bullied before, those teachers who are going through bad relationships, teachers be getting divorced like crazy. Have y'all noticed that? Teachers, this one teacher had about 3 husbands. She had about 3 husbands by the time I was in her class. I ain't even gonna call her name. It was 2 teachers I knew. I was in their class in 3rd grade. By the time I was in 6th grade, they was on their 3rd husband. They didn't change their names twice. Didn't know what to call them. Didn't know what to call them. Because they have problems. They have issues too. So if we're going to treat one, we need somebody in place for the teachers and the leaders in the school too. So that we can keep a healthy balance. So they can stay balanced. If they come to work and they got a lot on their mind, somebody needs to be there for them too. Because we just can't take every teacher that's going through a problem and say, hey, come on, let's go. We can't just do that to all of them. Then there'll be no teachers. Because everybody goes through something at some point in time. But we do need to set up a system. I don't know how they could do it, if it was a buddy system or what. Or maybe it could be a teacher hotline where teachers could call in, once a month and check in on each other. I don't know. But it needs to be something for them too. And we need to get back to honoring right and wrong. If you are a teacher withholding supplies or knowledge from a child that needs it, then you're at fault too for these mass shooters. You're part of the problem. If you're one that ignores a child when they say they're having problems at home, and you just brush it off like, oh, you'll be all right, you'll be fine, you're part of the problem too. One thing we're going to learn is that a book can teach you many things, but experience goes beyond textbook. Experience goes beyond what you are reading, unless you're reading the Bible. Experience goes beyond that. Yeah. Anyways, y'all, I just felt it was wrong, and this whole conversation came up because I saw what that woman put. Y'all, let me read what she put. I'm gonna try to find it and read it to you. I don't know if anybody responded back to what I had to say on it or not. And I just don't want kids writing a death wish. I don't want them doing that. If we teach kids every time a problem comes up, now you got to write your final note. No, you're taking life from that child. That can't be nobody that believes in God had them kids write that. Let me read you what it said. You know what? Let me take a picture of it. Well, no, let me go to her name. The woman's name is Carmen with a K, Daniel. Okay. I didn't find her. Okay, I'm going to read you her whole letter. It wasn't a letter. It was a post on Facebook. Now, I don't know. Y'all weigh in the comments and let me know what y'all think about it in the chat. Let me know what you think about it. She said, unfortunately today, I had to have the talk with my students. And although they'll be entering adulthood soon, they're still my babies. We discussed our strategic escape route and plan in the event of an active shooter on campus. The fear in their eyes and endless questions left me in awe. And there's nothing wrong with allowing and being available to discuss tough topics. It's nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with that part of what she wrote on her post. But then she goes on to say, They wanted to write a final note for me to store away just in case it's needed for their families in the event of a shooting. I allowed them to do so because it gave them a sense of comfort. This is America. I understand it gave them a sense of comfort, but it sounds like some of them kids already mental. If they already want to write a final note, most kids will want to know, how do I fight back? Not how do I help them take me out? I'm upset looking at this because no. We want life for our children. I don't want no teacher that cannot speak life into that child. Even though we know these situations are happening and it's possible that it can happen right here at home. But a final note? That's like final burial plan. That's like giving up on, on the hopes that we can learn how to prevent these mass shootings. That's giving in to the temptation to give up. So just lay there, just take it. Okay, he comes down the hall shooting. We'll just put a distance to the door. That's it. We already wrote our final note. So if we gotta go, we just gotta go. That's the way that kind of thinking sounds to me. No, they should have been writing out a plan, a promise to each other that if something should pop off, I got your back. That's what they should have been writing. If things start going south, if we hear pow, pow, I got your back. If I see you down, I'm going to do everything I can do to save you. Why can't they write a note or earn a certificate of CPR? But did that right there? No. They wanted to write a final note for me to store away. For you to store away, you are not God. You can store it away, but all you are doing is storing away something that a seed. If them kids knew the harvest of that seed they just wrote, they would not have wrote it. That's why I'm upset about that. That seed that does not speak life. That seed can come to pass because words have power. The final note? Come on now. Words have power. If you think it, it can happen. Whether you put it on paper or it's in your mind. That's why, the Bible be teaching us, if you're thinking about lusting, you have lusted. You've already done it. Whatever you think about in your head, you've already done it. If you say you're free, you're free. If you say you protected, you protected. But this right here, y'all, it just, I know America. America is crooked. America is full of all kind of people with all kind of issues and all kind of corruption and all kind of laws that they don't even abide by themselves. The laws and the gatekeepers and all these people. That's why you got to put your trust in somebody can keep you. Even when you don't want to be kept, and his name is God. He gave his son for us. But I didn't like it. But let me read, before I get off of here, I'm going to read a couple of the comments. I wrote, why the note couldn't be a promise letter to parents to protect and help each other in the event of an incident like this. Instead of saying a final note meaning death, words have power. It's good to discuss, but that's a heavy weight for adults and children, especially for something that may or may not happen. There's no guarantee that that's what's going to happen, but if you keep speaking it into your existence, you might speak it right on yourself. Okay, so these other people said, that is so sad. Nowadays, children can't be children. Another person says, I couldn't begin to imagine my kiddo writing me a goodbye letter, Lord. You're an amazing teacher. She can be an amazing teacher, but she's wrong on that. You are an amazing teacher. That's what they just kept writing. Lord, cover all the children wherever they are. Wow, this is insane, but so wise of you, friend. Wow. Man, the final note got my heart aching. It should be aching because she just allowed your child to put a seed out there of death. This is heartbreaking. I am in tears. This is so heartbreaking. Jesus, my Lord, cover all the babies. I don't like that seed. I don't like that. And this here is, and when you see this girl's face, she look like she's got some depression going on herself. But that's what I'm saying. When you get these teachers are not perfect. That's why I don't hold them up on pedals, because they're not perfect. And they are flawed individuals just like I am. They just went to school for a certain degree to teach on topics, and some of us didn't. But we must still consider that a lot of them are coming to work with depressions on themselves and anxieties. And that is influencing how they lead our children. It can determine whether they lead our children astray from real, true teaching, or if they lead our children on the straight road, the right road, the road to resilience. To be resilient, get back up. We saw what happened. Let's get back up. What can we do about it? How can we prevent this from happening to the next person? I got this project coming up that I'm going to start writing on very soon. And this project, I may just name it Project Resilience, because if I put everything out there that I've been through mentally, I was trying to explain some things to my granddaughters, and I began to cry about it because I really just hadn't really thought about it like that until I started talking. But I guess that was the right time for it to come out, because I had never thought about it like that before. But there was an incident that happened to me when I was younger. I was raped, and I was 13 years old, and I got grandchildren now that's around that age. And I was telling them about how you have to be careful of your surroundings, your friends, who you're with, because sometimes people stay and help you, and other times people be so scared that they leave you. And in the midst of that trauma that happened to me, the past weekend before, I tried on a shirt, because I'm on that Mounjaro, right? Mounjaro head. And I finally fitted into this shirt that I had brought off of TikTok. Now, the shirt was a button shirt, which at the time I did not know. But while I had the shirt on, I kept feeling some type of way. And I didn't realize it was this button shirt until I looked down and I said, oh my goodness. I done already took some pictures with the shirt unbuttoned at the bottom. And I began to button it. And as I began to button it, I had a flashback that hit me, but I couldn't put the pieces together until I started talking to my grandchildren. And what it was, when I was attacked that day, I had on a button-up shirt, and I just had not worn button shirts ever since I was 13 because of that. Because the guys, when they grabbed me, they broke the buttons off my shirt when they took it off. But I hadn't worn shirts like that since then. But we gotta teach, what I'm getting to is that we gotta teach resilience to get back up sooner than later. Now, it took me years, 13 to what am I now? 48. Ooh, I'm 48. I got excited about that. But we're going to see how long it took me to put on a button shirt again. 48 minus... So it took me 35 years to put on a button shirt again. Now I do wear, I got this one button shirt, but I never button it. See, most of the time if I had shirts and it had a button on, I would never button them. But this time I buttoned the shirt and I felt some type of way and I didn't know what it was until I got to talk to my grandchildren. But if I would have had somebody in my corner who could have said, listen, the buttons on the shirt did not do nothing to you. They're part of your story. They're not your entire story. I probably missed out on some good opportunities wearing some beautiful clothing because of that situation. Resilience. We need to teach our children to get back up and be resilient. We need to teach our children how to be mentally strong, mentally tough. Because if they don't learn how to take on this stuff, the more bullies are going to be able to take over. We can't allow these bullies to take over like that. But I guarantee you, they either getting bullied at home or they the bully at home, whoever's doing it. But it's just a lot that we need to work on and take into consideration, that each one of us can do something to help somebody. And if you are giving to children, please don't give to them in vain. Don't give them gifts that would deter them from life. I know some people who like to give all kind of gifts and things, and kids interpret different. Teenagers interpret different from when they was a babies. We gotta have more love for one another. And quit spreading these seeds of doubt like that. I still won't agree with that. Now, y'all let me know what y'all opinion is. Do y'all agree with the final note? I just don't see it. I mean, maybe it might just be me. I understand that you got to prepare for your burials and things like that. And you might want to leave a final, your will and testament, and, might want to say little good things about people along the way. But just to do that, I don't know. That's my opinion, y'all, and I'm entitled to my opinion as you are to yours. Maybe it brought comfort to some. At the same time, it's still a seed, and you get to reap what you sow. That's principle. That means you can't take away from that, and you can't add nothing to that. If you're planting a seed of, well, I'm out of here. You very well may be. And like I said, that's different from a will and testament. Now, getting your affairs in order, that's different from just having these kids who are at the age where they don't really emotionally they have emotions, but interpreting emotions is very difficult when it comes down to these teenagers. And because they'll sit there and say, I know what I want. And they don't. They really don't know what they want. They just know what they have been through before, and it seems like what they want. But if they knew they were sowing into their life, they wouldn't put that. I'd rather sow into my life that I'm going to be able to stand and protect myself and protect others around me. Write that note. Y'all, this stew smells so good. I'm going to have to go stir it. Yep, I'm going to have to stir it a little bit. And it's having to cook slow, so I'm hoping it be ready at least about 6 or... No, not 6. Maybe about 7:30. Still an early good time. It smells like Thanksgiving up here. It smells like fall, for real. Smell like fall up in here. Other than that, I have not done nothing today. I'm off that topic now. I'm done with that. I just said my saying now. I'm on something else. I tried to decorate my house a little bit for fall. It just seems like I just can't get where I want to get with my house. I don't understand it. But I'm going to keep working. Maybe it's because I'm jumping from place to place working, for one thing. I forgot what I'm going to do. Anyways, if y'all like cleaning stuff and some of you need a little extra motivation, check out Hello Life. We're going to be cleaning on there. I don't know exactly when, but we're going to be doing something because it's about that time for me to do a podcast. I haven't been on there in a while to do nothing. I know there's some things. I just need things in order. I need things thrown away, and I just need things cleaned up. I mean... Anyways, I'm not going to bore y'all with that. I'm finna get off of here because that's for Hello Life. And so if you like talk like that about cleaning up and supplies and couponing and all that, you got to go to Hello Life. And I'm up out of here, y'all. I hope to do a video of what the chicken stew looks like, and hopefully it'll be good. Peace, love, and happiness.